morning, everyone. Okay, as I see the crowd over here is more than half people are like students, and lots of young people, and also somebody from civil engineering line. So, yes, we call Hiren Patel Architects as a HPA, but H for the happiness, P for the positives. Whatever we do, we are very positive about it, and A for the accountability. I mean, being an architect, we are accountable because you work for the generations. I mean, whatever you create stays for the years altogether. And so, whatever as an architect or designers you do, we are quite accountable for that. Uh, I also like Amaravati, and I'm from Ahmedabad. And Ahmedabad, when I was studying like you guys, I always had one question that I'm from the small city, and how am I going to cope up with the architects from Mumbai, Delhi? I mean, and when I got graduated, I again had a questions that being in the small city, I may have a less opportunity compared to Mumbai or Delhi. So I can uh, go back to 20 years, and I was of your age, 25 years. So I can imagine the same question might be there. I'm in a small city of Amaravati, but Amaravati is actually on a global map because of new capital coming up and in the news and everything. What I would like to say that the guys from Amaravati can do much better work than the guys from Mumbai because they are sitting in a small box of a tight environment versus in Amaravati, you just see outside beautiful landscape, mountains and things like that. So the place is not a barrier in today's scenario. I mean, when we started our own practice, yes, there was a lack of communications and the availability of resources in terms of communications, but now I mean, you know, Instagram and Snapchat, and you are connected to the entire world. So I would again recollect my one experience. I was invited for Nasik, and when I was driving from Mumbai to Nasik, I was passing by the mountains and things like that. And then I happened to meet some of the young architects there, and I could sense that feeling of being in a small city, having less opportunity to work upon. And the same experience I had in Switzerland, I was passing through a city called Lugano, and I traveled to the small village called Madresio, and it took me almost same kind of experience going to the mountains and things like that, and I end up to the one architect's office, and it was the office of Mario Botta, working with 20, 30 people, working across the globe. So somebody sitting in Switzerland in a small city, small village, I would say, uh, having very little language of English compared to Indians, he could work in entire world. I'm sure the people from Amaravati can work across the globe. So that has to be go away. Second is that because of today's communication, you have all the information in your hands, like Instagram or Facebook or internet, versus we had our school library. So I see the plus point of having school library, our professor had filtered out the scrap things, and we always had a good stuff in our library. So that was a good job done by professor. So whatever we study had a good material. Versus in internet, you have to really fetch for the good thing. Anyway, I will just go through the three projects I have done. And as students are here, I want to see the power of internet, how does it work? So this is a house we did almost now more than 10 years. It's called Courtyard House. So plan is very pretty simple that you enter from the top, that's the car porch. You enter through the sense of arrival, there is a storage, shoe racks and everything. You enter here, a former drawing room, a one bedroom, master bedroom, for parents room at the ground floor with a bathroom and courtyards. You proceed to the puja room, you come across to the kitchen, dining family, and the veranda, quite big veranda over, the terrace over here, there's a veranda over here, there's a water features, and on the back side is a garden. So that's the house. So the way I explained that you enter from that side, and you enter there, there's a bedroom over there, there's another bedroom here. You can see the one watercolor which is done by me. You cross across to the family living. Now, I mean, uh, I used to work for the lots of builders, and my professor in SAP always used to wonder that, Hiren, you are such a good student, and you have gone on a wrong track. But I always feel that being an architect, when you are on your drafting board, whether it's your real estate project or whether it's your elite client of making villa, I mean, you are very honest and you want to do the best. So for me, working for real estate project or working for the private houses like this is the same for me. So the client had seen one of my project, and that's how they came to us, and we designed this house for them. And as you see, the result was quite good. We got the professional photographer. I thought of that Inside Outside magazine would publish it. I was not aware of the power of internet, that you can actually share your work to the rest of the world. So we did photography. The guy came from Mumbai, damn expensive guy. I had to put my own money because the client had no interest to pay for money. So we got the flight ticket for 2 people. Then they stay in the 5-star hotel. They photograph for 2 days. It was quite a good budget compared to my own fee. But that was something wise thing we did. Now today's time you can do the same thing with your own mobile. So that photographer did photography, and he told me something which was, I still remember. He said, Hiren, your house is a photogenic. From any angle I take the pictures comes very beautiful on. Why don't you try out some architectural blog? So that was something new came in to my understanding. There is something called actually architecture blog. And he said, the people would love across the globe. Why don't you try to some international blog to put your work? So he gave me the name of a blog called Arch Daily, Contemporaries, and there are a couple of such blog. So when the pictures came, we were also very happy. So we thought the international, no, it's again, I would say, third world mentality, that which international magazine or which international blog will prefer Indian architect's work. So we were very choosy. So we have some couple of 40, 50 good pictures of the project. We say let's select some 7, 8 best project photograph, and we'll send across to the this blog called Contemporaries. So I told somebody who was working in my office to say that these are the best pictures. Make sure you send these pictures to this architecture blog. And so, because you have to send the high resolution images, he started transferring in the night. So whole night he can transfer because the internet was slow in those time. So next day when we were in the office, the person who did this uploading, he says, sir, mere se ek mistake ho gaya. I got some mistake. I say, what was the mistake? He said, by mistake, I uploaded 26 photographs, which we did not wanted to upload. We wanted to have only best 7, 8 photographs. But by mistake, I uploaded another folder, which has almost 27 or 28 pictures. So we thought, my God, that was a big mistake. So somehow it went everything, and Contemporaries felt in love with that entire, and they uploaded in their blog almost like 25 pictures or 24 pictures. So what happened, that many people follow the Contemporaries. So people who were interested in bathroom fetched the material because suddenly they found so much of material of one house. Where somebody is interested in bathroom, fetched the material from contemporaries about the bathroom. Somebody was interested in the wood, they found. So suddenly within a 1 month, the kind of this house got viral, I would say, which I never knew that. It went in everywhere. And suddenly we started getting phone calls, emails from so many international magazines from Mexico AD and some French magazine and some Malaysia, somewhere from Pakistan. Everybody wanted to publish the house. So that's a true story that if you do good thing, don't be afraid. Just take advantage of the media. Be loud. If your work is good, I think world is going to appreciate. So don't be afraid or don't be kind of having kind of inferiority complex about your own work. So that's how the house has come. So that's the parents' room, and the upper floor is the master bedroom. And actually, that's the master bedroom. So we do architecture, interior, and landscaping, everything together, and including the selection of the artwork and everything. So now, in fact, this ficus has grown so tall, the client says that they don't have to use the curtains because they have complete privacy. And the clients become friend. And then I asked the lady, I mean the husband and wife, young family, I say, what was the reason you select me as an architect? Because I was not known for creating the private houses. And I say, Ahmedabad is known for very good architects. We have Apurva Amin, we have Anand Patel, good architects are there. Why did you select me out of blue? So they say, we saw your work and we like. Yes, we had couple of architects in our mind because it was our house and we wanted to select somebody. They say, we came to your office and you listened to us. And on the way back, when we were in the lift going back our home, my wife told, this guy listens us, other guy did not listen, they impose. So that's why we selected you. I don't know, I'm sure Anand also listens. But that was the reason they chose me. They thought this guy will maybe listen to us, understand our own requirement rather than imposing his own ideas. So anyway, there's another story when we did this flooring. We love this flooring. And when it was laid down, the client came and he called me in the evening and said, Hiren bhai, site ઉપર બહુ problem થઈ ગયો છે. I mean, there's a big problem at the site. I said, what happened? He said, the flooring is horrible. So when I came, I saw this flooring and I was more than happy because we wanted from Italian marble inside to the little same material like a crazy flooring and then the garden. So it's a transition from in to out. So as my education of an architect, this was better flooring compared to continue with the glossy flooring. So he said, this is not good. So what we did, the technique, we said, let's keep it in mind, we'll search for the new marble because we have to buy the new marble which matches the marble which is inside. So we wanted to buy the time because client was in panicky mode. And then we brought some of the good friend of his and us. We convinced the friends saying that this flooring is fantastic. So every time the friend goes and he will call, hey Pranav, this flooring is beautiful one. Hey Pranav, this flooring is beautiful one. That's how it stays. And finally they also love this. So yeah, that's it's a reflecting pool. And you see the entire reflection of the landscape and it's very soothing feeling. After that, we got one project from Surat. And it's on a river bank of Tapi. And it's a huge float. It's almost like a resort. So again, you enter from there. There's a sense of arrival. There's a home office there. There are a couple of rooms over here. This is ground plus one. So there are 4 bedrooms. Master bedroom, home theater, spa. This is like a family space where you have kitchen, grand dining, family, formal, veranda, veranda, veranda. Idea was there to bring lots of veranda so people can be there. So that's how the section is. So when the client came, as an architect, I was very excited because this is such a beautiful site. And uh, what happened then when we started designing, the client told that I am from the small village of Saurashtra, which is the western part of Gujarat. And he said, I'm coming from a small town, a small village. I came to the city called Surat and I made my fortune. Why can't you make the house like he said our village houses are so beautiful, isn't it? And I say, yes, it is. So he said, why can't we have such a beauty of the house which we have in our village? So as an architect, when this project was there, which was like almost like a dream project, with our own education, we were thinking to create completely exposed concrete house with a slope roof with the singles, something getting inspiration from Tadav Ando, and that's how we thought. And the client says that, why don't you make a house like what we see in our Gujarat village? And then we put one question on ourselves that, okay, let's forget about going with exposed concrete, but we make a normal brick walls, plaster them like earthen color. Let's have the same country tiles which we have in the village and go further. We may become wrong in terms of the masterpiece of architecture, but as an architect, if I don't have pride of my own material, who else will have the pride? So that's how we took a risk of changing the material palette, having pride of our own architecture, our own regional character, and we try to create this resort like a house, but inspiring from the village. So that's a sketch of village where you have number of houses, small houses, and very organic way of growth, versus we have organic way of placing the buildings with the geometry hidden. And what we said that our villages doesn't have the garden, how can we bring a lot more garden and garden? So that's how we just wrote that, hey, bring the garden in, garden in, garden in. Let's get lots of garden. Hey, architect, be a humble guy. Put your ego away, try to work with the landscape, and maybe you can create something beautiful. So this house has many courtyards. So first house has a single courtyard. Now we have multiple courtyards, and we started creating different character to the courtyard. So that's a sense of arrival, where you have courtyard. As you enter, there's one more courtyard. There's a three-side wall, and you have the dead palm, and there's another courtyard. So we have so many courtyards. That's the courtyard, that's the courtyard. In the bathroom, you have another kind of open shower and courtyard. We have spa where we have a kind of water channel. People do say that's like Carlos Carpa, but it's more inspired from Mandu, where there's a nice water channel. So we use lots of courtyard into the house. As an architect, I paint a lot and I do some sculpture. So we thought of putting some sculpture there. So that's the house. And these pictures are taken by the one photographer called Patrick Bingham Hall. He's an old guy, must be 70, age of 70, and he's a British. He runs his own publication. So he's based in Singapore in UK. And he says something very nice. He says, Hiren, I'm a photographer, I'm a critic. So what happened that I see the buildings and I write critics. And he's an old man, old generation man. So he always say that in today's time of Facebook or Instagram, everybody just clap, clap, and clap. You say good thing about it, you never criticize. Versus earlier, we have lots of magazine books where a critic is very important. So he photographed the pictures and beautifully. And he says, again, it was quite nice that he was coming from the UK. So as a homework, be an architect, we did some homework with one of my nephew is also a good photographer. He's an architect. So we did little homework of taking pictures of this house before the genius photographer comes. So we save the time, material, everything for him. So first day he came, and whenever he used to put his camera, we have the big team of helpers for cleaning everything, and like we really wanted to document very nicely. And he would try to compose the picture or frame. I will take out my iPhone. I say, hey, Patrick, this angle is good because we have photograph everywhere. So he said, yes, this looks good. He photographed. Whole day the photography was there. Being Gujarat non-alcoholic, you don't get beer. Surat is very humid and hot. So poor guy, he had a tough time. He always wanted to have a glass of beer. We say in Gujarat is not going to happen. So he photographed. By the evening, he was really tired, old man. And in the night, we were back to the hotel. He was there for 3 days. So next day morning, when we were together for the breakfast, he said, Hiren, what happened, you know? I said, no, sir, what happened? He said, I deleted everything. I said, deleted everything means what? He said, yesterday, entire photography shoot, I deleted. I said, oh my God, whole day, what happened? I said, sir, was it your something breakdown, your computer crash, or what happened? He said, no, Hiren, I removed everything. I actually deleted everything from my camera to my laptop. I said, why, sir? So he said, I got influenced by you. So when I was in the middle of night, I was watching my download pictures on laptop. I started saying, hey, Patrick, what is wrong with you? This is not Patrick's photograph. This is Hiren's iPhone photograph. He said, I got so much of influence by your showing me on your iPhone, and I photographed the way you saw. So I don't want this. I want to actually capture the spirit of Surat. So that's why I deleted the whole thing. Next day, the old man with his own such a huge tripod, he said, I don't want you guys next to me at all. I am moving myself. I don't need any of help. You better you stay away. I am okay. We said, sir, do you want to help? Who can hold your camera? He said, nothing like it. And he photographed for 2 days. He's a guy, in fact, does photography for Woha Architect. If you know Singapore, there's a Singapore architect called Woha Architects. He does all the photography of his. All the books of Woha is written by this guy. This guy has written lots of books on Bali. So somehow he fall in love with this thing. In fact, he's also coming up on a very small, he called a little village book. That's how he's coming with a book for this project. So he deleted 2 days. He did his own photography. He went back to UK. He was not happy with certain pictures. He again flew down and took the photography. So that's the spirit of your own pride, or at the age of 70, somebody is so passionate about his work, so much of love to his work, that age doesn't matter. So that's what I would say to take to the young people, that this photograph happens if you have the sheer love of your own work. So he pictures so brilliantly against of the morning sunrise, and pictures came very beautifully. So that's how the center sitting area. This is, we call it is our favorite place, because during construction we had created this first. So every site visit we always used to have meetings over this veranda. That's like this is the material palette which is very typical of roofing from Gujarat. We were doing some project in South India in Kerala. So we got little inspiration from South Indian temple, and we created some temple which is little different. The rest of the thing is the country ties. And as we did landscaping, the things are now becoming huge and beautiful. That's a dining table. And the client who loves inviting people, so he really wanted 30 people of dining, and he actually hosts almost every day some 20, 30 people for dining. So that's how it is. We have a very beautiful lighting from the people called Glow Light from Delhi. And what happened that, see, every project would have a problem with your budget, and the lights and everything comes in the last moment. So how you face the, so we were fighting with this Glow people, and they gave huge budget, maybe 20 lakhs rupees or something. And client were exhausted that no money, no matter, we don't have money anymore for hanging. So eventually we cut down the uh, light budget, hanging light budget, and we had to split one this and one that. I mean, one chandelier was cut and we kept because we had a very long dining table. So still it was expensive. It went in few lakhs of rupees. And when it was installed, we realized that the center part was empty and we had no budget for anything. But luckily we have some brilliant site engineer. And when they were arranging the entire decor, we had couple of like small vases, which was costing, I would say, 200 rupees, but very similar shape of that. So that guy hang those flower pots reversely. This is the center part. So this, each of them are costing us 30,000 rupees versus this one is costing only 200 rupees. Was such a brilliant one. So if you are lucky to have some good engineers, I mean, you can find the good solution. That's how the entire chandelier become. The 200 rupees brilliant idea from the civil engineer took the centerpiece versus Pratik, he's brilliant from Glow Light, are two side together. Similar way, we have lots of artwork. And I myself do painting, so I fight a lot with the client for putting the artwork. And we have one of the most expensive art piece over there. And it's a color. It's from purple to the blue. And we had that. And when it was, I mean, luckily the client had a faith on us. So we could put whatever we wanted. We did not have to take the permission of client. So we put that painting. And I told the even engineer, okay, this is like an abstract painting. You don't know which direction would be right. So you have to look behind where the sign is there, and then you will know the direction of the painting. So painting was done, and the client came. And then he called from there with his engineer. In Gujarati he said કે સાહેબ પૂછે છે કે આ પેલી ફ્રેમ લાગી ગઈ છે એના ઉપર શું લગાડવાનું છે. Means the client was asking to us that this backdrop has been created. Now what else has to be put upon? And then we say, sir, this itself is a painting, and this is one of the most precious and expensive painting. So nothing more is going to come. So that's how actually the client, but if you are lucky that they trust you, you can take that advantage. Obviously, you do for best for the client, not for your own. That's how that happened. Yes, we took lots of, I mean, this is like weaving of the wood, and we cut, these are the background of the bamboo. So we cut the bamboo and we expose the inside out. That's how, and it was painted black because we had a black stone flooring. That's a living space. That's again good painting by some artists. That's a sculpture I did. So we made some model and everything. And being an architect, I am not big artist. So we propose that we will put some 3 sculpture which will add the beauty in landscaping. So they say, yes, we'll do it. So the engineer called us that, sir, how tall the sculpture would be. So being an architect, not an artist, I did not have the courage to say that 20 feet ka bana do. Let's make 20 feet high tall. So I say, make it around 17 and a half. And after 2 days, I got some photograph on WhatsApp. They were cutting into the factory, and the huge metal plate were cut, and they installed so nicely, and it's quite nice. So it is good to experiment on certain areas as an artist as well. So that's glow lighting versus local hanging. That's how you enter. Also, we have that same bamboo, which is cut and kept reverse, so you see inside, outside. So, yeah, that's dining table. That's how the light comes to the living room. That's how you enter from there, the puja, and yeah. That's the family space, sculptures. That's how the roof, and now even is growing tall, and that's a screen, and you get the light from the screen. It's quite beautiful and magical in the evening time. This is how we actually enter. In landscaping, we put lots of lemongrass because it works like a mosquito repellent. So when you have the veranda, we put lots of lemongrass. This is like we call, as we created the temple, see landscaping, for me, the design doesn't happen overnight. So you work like an artist. You keep on working, and try to look for the master strokes. So when we were doing the landscaping, the idea came at sight that, okay, we have temple, and most of our temple in village always have the river next to that. So we thought, how can we create the river? So we call it the river of blue flowers. That's how we planted, and that's how, so you keep on working. Yes, you end up putting a lot more energy. It's almost it's like making a movie. You really get exhausted, but its result is fantastic. That's a huge cantilever. We say this is the only structure which is huge and massive. So we say it's the ego of an architect. Rest of the structures are very humble. That's how I mean, one has to really look as a student. I would say that whatever you do, try to see how best workmanship you can do. I mean, look at the kind of chandelier made from bamboo, because it looks beautiful, because the workmanship is excellent. Okay, I will quickly run through this project, because we as an architects always have a kind of feeling that lots of foreign architects comes to India, they take away projects. They take away the best of best projects. And always people discuss that we should not allow foreign architect to work in India because our opportunity of work is going away. To me, it is not. Because if they are good, they should come and work. If they are not good, you will have more opportunity, because you can prove that, come on guys, I am also equally good like my foreign colleague architects. But if they are good, you learn from that. So that's how today's global market actually working. So the way somebody comes from Japan or everything, work in India, if you are good, maybe you can work across the globe. So this is the one project we are doing for community center in France. And somebody called me. So we got the mail saying that we want you to design in France, and I thought it must be a prank message or something. And then there was a call. There was a call from some lady saying that I'm a Catherine calling from Paris, and can I connect to the architect Hiren? We want him to design a project in France. So again, I thought it must, when our receptionist told, I say, come on, Maheshwari, don't believe in such kind of phone call. It must be a prank call. And my son is studying in computer science. He's also a very notorious boy. I thought this must be Karan's idea to make us fool. So I said, don't bother. I think it doesn't look like the same. And suddenly we got the picture, again the mail, requesting for a Skype call. And then we become very serious. And we had a Skype call. I say, make the meeting room looks proper, color is peeling you off, just compose the laptop in such a way the beautiful paintings are visible, because somebody from Paris is going to judge you from your whatever you are showcasing yourself. So we had Catherine in front of us, and she said, yes, Hiren, I want you to design. I am coming up with a project for community. It's a community center which will teach you on sustainable way of living. And I want you to design a building for us. Will you design for us? So yes, we say we agreed upon. I flew down to Bordeaux, see the site visit. And so the project is already now frozen with the corporation passing and everything. Luckily, I was working in Switzerland, so I am aware of the way the French people would be working, because I was working in Switzerland. I study in ETH, so I happened to say I was a bit comfortable with the working there. But obviously, it's a language barrier, thinking change, everything happened, and eventually our job as a principal architect has been over. Municipal passing has been done. Now the local architect is taking it forward for constructing the project. So I'm just quickly running through these images that, come on, the global is the market. So don't think that you can be restricted with your area, but if you're good, you can work across the globe. So we had inspiration because Bordeaux is a historical town. It's a UN recognized city. And if you are building in front of Napoleon Bonaparte's bridge, you're working in the historical place. So we had some inspirations about the projects for Norman Foster's project, another Swiss architect's project. There's one Ducan Lewis from the France. He's fantastic in terms of architecture, and especially working with the landscaping was our inspiration. And last but not least, our own house, because that's how, in fact, the Catherine fall in love with this project, and she came us to design in France. So she somehow loved this project, and she has seen in the internet, and that's how she connected us, and she wanted us to design the project. So I'm quickly running through the program of the project. It has three things. Yellow is the restaurant part, center is a working space, and the purple is a residential. So it's basically a project where as an architect you work, but there are lots of, we call pioneers. So we have like G2E is a Swiss company who makes the glasses and gets the energy. We have somebody from Bricawood from France. They make bricks from the wood. We have a Russian guy who makes the bricks from the plastic waste, so we have them. We have UK guy who makes the robots, which works on the kitchen to help to the chef. So that robot is going to be installed into the kitchen. We have very famous gastronomy chef from Bordeaux itself is going to run the restaurant over there. We have one Californian company who is making a robot which grows the tomatoes, and once you get the tomato, it will automatically plug the things like that. So we have so many different kind of people. We are thinking to have a team lab to work in the yoga part. We have small yoga room, and team lab may work for the things. So basically, it's a kind of NGO getting awareness of sustainable way of living. So they will have lots of workshop. So you have a restaurant, you have workshop place, and the people who are going to stay there. So I was asking that because Catherine eventually became a friend. And one day I asked same question, that why did you select me as an architect? I say, I admire work of so many French architects like G. Nouvel, and I do remember when I went in exchange program, when I saw his building of a museum for the Montage Arab, which is, it was like a magic to me, the way the lift was, glass lift was moving, and entire building with the aperture, and the light and jali in a very modern way. I was really wondering that how come I have been selected. And Catherine, there's one French landscape person called Patrick who created the vertical gardening. He invented the vertical garden. So his first vertical garden was developed in Catherine's kitchen. So this lady is so much known to the people. I say, out of blue, how come you find not from Delhi, Bombay, but somebody from Ahmedabad? So she say, Hiren, I wanted to really know that what was something she found in me. I wonder, Jean Nouvel is like a guru, you can't even think of. So touching his home ground itself is a kind of fear you have. So she said something very amazing, which applies to all of us. She said, Hiren, our French architects, they create boxes, and you are the one who create courtyards. I want architect who can create courtyards. That's why I have you. So courtyard, everybody is good. Courtyard is in our own DNA because we have been living in courtyards. So she somehow get i- ignited with the space created by courtyard, and that's how she came to us. Obviously, in Bordeaux, courtyard was not possible because of cold and everything. We end up creating courtyard into a greenhouse. So the whole working space is a garden where you work, but it's a greenhouse. So that's how the building is. So that's how we have the greenhouse as a courtyard, and they love the idea of creating greenhouse. And then we have different kind of plants into that, and we have aroma and medicine plant and kind of thing. So yeah, so these are just quick detail, and there are historical building and how our building would come. How the shadow will happen. This is what we thought. Aromatic plants, botanical plants, some vegetables, because we have a restaurant, so we wanted to grow some vegetables right there. So, and that's how the city of Bordeaux, that's the bridge which is Napoleon Bonaparte had made. And this is, previously it was a railway station, now converted into a theater. And that's the building where we are building. So that's how it was visualized. Yes, now the final program has changed. The height has reduced from the 2-story to 1-story. So that's a restaurant. These are very early design concepts. Yeah. Yeah. So as I would say that apart from your own professional work, I always learn that sports is very important part of your life. You have to be very fit. I was always busy working, and my belly was really coming out of that. And I realized that's not the way the life is there. One has to have a balance. I was in Switzerland, I work, and I remember that if you are good in one sports, all Swiss people or even the French ladies sitting here, they will spend 3 hours in a week for their hobby and for their sports by default, whatever busy they are. So the sport is important. We all were good in college time, but once we come back to our profession, we put everything apart. So I would advise to my colleague as well and the students that don't give up your hobbies and don't give up your sports, because that will keep you fit. I mean, I restarted, so for me, going to back in the evening, I'm always with these kids of college to the things. She's my wife, she's a dentist, so she's Dina. But we all are working in the club, so back to like college for 2-3 hours workout, and it makes me fit. I would say that I would started getting back to the sports almost 6 years now. Very simple. Slowly, I gradually built up my own stamina. Last February, I did my first half Ironman. So, I mean, one can actually achieve. Obviously, full Ironman is a dream for me, but one day it can also happen. So, I would say that don't give up your sports and don't give up your own hobby. So, I love landscaping. So, I go to some organic farm to work with this worker on Sunday whenever I get the things. Then when you make your hands dirty, you learn much more the things. So that's how they are the buddies in the life. Rest of the life of an architect is very hectic, we all know. Thank you so much for listening me. Thank you.